don't know why that. Okay. Maybe because I didn't hit play. And hello again, everybody. Thank you for joining us with our reboot of our From the Verse. This is now going to be called Filling the Void. And we have with us today Aaron, and he and I are going to be talking about the REC system and the mining system. But before we get started with all that, we just have a few topics to go over. And one of them is introduce yourself, Aaron.
Oh, hi everybody. I'm Aaron.
There you go. And he's one of the pilots with the First Royal Aerospace Squadron that you can kind of see right. Let me see where I got my mouse. So you can't see it either way. Yeah. So uh, this show is sponsored by the First Royal Aerospace Squadron. If you're interested in joining the First Royal Aerospace Squadron, feel free to look us up on one ras.engine.com, and that's right there scrolling across the top of our screen right now. Um, all right, so now, Aaron, what have you been doing lately to prepare yourself for maybe the upcoming FPS module or the upcoming social module, or just playing Arena Commander, or what are you doing? What have you been doing lately in Star Citizen?
Actually, sad to say, I haven't been able to do much at all. I had a death in the family, and I've been out of town for a while.
Right,
But
right.
I'm back now. I just downloaded and caught up on the patches, and I'm just trying to drop in the game and keep my flying up
Okay.
when I can connect. And
Yeah, I know you were having that problem getting disconnected or whatever, and hopefully deleting that user file will actually help that. Anybody watching, this is a little tidbit of news I learned about a week ago. You might want to know this. If you have any equipment related issues, like your guns don't fire, or they don't recharge, or for some reason ammo doesn't recharge, or something like that, if it's an equipment related issue, go into your user file. Don't delete the whole file. Just go into the user file and delete a file called inventory. If you delete that file, the next time you reboot the game, the system will check the website to see what your inventory is supposed to be, and it'll recreate that file for you in your user file. That way you don't lose any settings that you might have had for like keyboard settings or control settings or sound, or any settings won't be affected. But if you delete the user folder, then you got to go back in and fix the sound and all your keyboard bindings and all that stuff. So I learned that, and by deleting the, because I've been having a problem with because I've been flying Arena Commander, and I've been having problems with my canard turret at the bottom of my nose uh, recharging. Like a lot of times it would not recharge the lasers. Like I'll fire it, and once all the energy's gone, it's done. And then I have when next time I die, I have a fully recharged guns in the front. I'll fire them. They will never recharge. But I have been deleting my inventory file, and that has solved my problem. I shouldn't have to do that, but apparently CIG is aware of this because they're the ones that told me to do it. So that's just a little tidbit. Another thing, I am looking forward to the FPS module a lot. I'm really excited about it. I heard that they're going to have two maps initially. That's going to be the Golden Horizon space station and uh, the in-orbit battle arena. You know, the big circle, the zero-G battle arena. It looks a lot like Ender's Game kind of situation. I see that those two are going to be the two maps. There's going to be a lot of activity being played on both maps, I think, and so that's going to be fun. I think that's going to be fun. What do you think about that, Aaron?
oh, I can't wait for it. Just watching the pack show that they put on got me going. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, yeah, and the new PAX East is coming out in like a week. So like I think it's the 7th. And I think it's
Right.
next weekend. And I'm predicting, and this is a prediction, that they are going to release 1.1 at that time. And then maybe Sunday or Monday we'll actually get the patch uploaded, or maybe it's Saturday night or something. Who knows? And uh, and I'm also predicting that I'm going to see the Gladius as a flyable ship.
Cool.
Okay, that should be flyable. And then I'm also predicting, I'm going to say it again, the Retaliator is going to be in the hangar. Because I watched Reverse the Verse, and what's his name? Ben stated that there was going to be a multi-crew ship that everybody's been waiting for is going to appear in the hangar because they need it in the engine so that they can troubleshoot some of the control schemes like opening doors and like going to consoles and turning that stuff on. It's not obviously it's not going to be flyable yet because it's a multi-crew ship, and that's going to be months and months down the road. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Hopefully, the Retaliator will be in my hangar next weekend. Uh, okay. Now, that, having said that, I have something that I want to get off my chest before we get started talking about like the news from around the RSI and all that stuff. Terra. Okay. I noticed it just recently. There was somebody on Reddit that started a new, what do you call it? A new thread about trying to get like a petition to CIG or RSI to get them to rename the system Terra or the planet Terra. And I'm I have included my name on that petition because I don't think there should be two worlds in the Empire, human worlds, called the same thing. Earth and Terra, they both mean the
Dirt.
exact same thing. Exactly. As opposed, exactly. They both mean the exact same thing, just in different languages. Okay, so by calling Earth Earth, and by calling Terra Terra, you're basically saying that Earth is Terra and Terra is Earth, and that just is okay. I went through the 5 levels of grief when I when I first became a subscriber. First, when I first backed this game, and I found out that there was a planet out there called Terra. Actually, I'm going to tell you, when I read like the posts and the storylines and the fan fiction, all that stuff. And when they were talking about Terra, I just naturally assumed they were talking about Earth. And then when they talked about Earth in a different light, I was like, what the hell are they talking about? Is this like, did things change in just a few hundred years or something? And then I realized, oh, wow, there's actually a whole nother system, a whole nother planet called Terra. And I did a little research on this, and it said, my understanding is, originally the discoverers saw that it was just like Earth would have been if it was still fresh and not corrupted or whatever, and so they called it New Earth or New Terra. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm with that. But then over the years, over the centuries or whatever, the name New or part of that name had dropped off and then it became Terra. So that kind of like eased my pain. I was like, okay, I'll go with that, whatever, you know. And then, but I've always been grumbling about it because there should not be two planets named the same thing. And then just recently, like last week or something like that, somebody said, let's make a petition to change the name from Terra to something else because it, and I was like, what? He's rehashing this. This has already been done. But you know what? He's right. He's right. I love him for posting that. And I put my name on the thing saying, screw it, let's change the name. But CIG, They know about this too because, again, on the reverse the verse, Ben said there is this post out, but they really don't think they're gonna change the name because Terra is growing on them and blah blah blah. And I was like,
Mm,
whatever.
yeah.
If they don't change it, am I gonna stop playing this game? No. I'm just gonna be that guy flying around going, man, I'm going to Terra, whatever. But which which Terra? Terra 1 or Terra 2? Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah.
that reminds me of that old show. What was it? Earth 2?
Earth 2.
Yep.
And there was even another show called Terra Nova,
Yep.
and all that is just double terrorists or whatever. Earth 2, wasn't that the one where they were like a colony ship, but there was aliens that showed up in the last show, or it
Yeah.
only lasted like one season or something like that?
Yeah, they had what's his name played Rocky Horror in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, or Dr. Frankfurter.
Um, really?
Yeah,
Didn't they have like
like
an
Tim
inflatable
Curry. Tim
Tim Curry?
Curry.
Did they have like that inflatable building that they lived in initially,
Yep. Yep.
and then yeah, that didn't last very long.
No,
Terra
it
Nova
didn't.
didn't last very long either. So
Nope.
guess what? New Terra might not last very long. If they have a civil war like they're planning on, maybe we'll go out and take care of that. But okay, well, they might be planning on. All right, I wanted to rant about that. Now let's bring up the RSI website, and we're going to kind of take a look at some things that are in the news, or some things that actually happened over the last week or so. Okay, let's give everybody a view of this. Okay, I'm going to scroll this down. Meet the devs and all that jazz. Okay, really right here about Inside Imaginarium. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch that video in there, I strongly recommend that you do, because that video is pretty enlightening about how they do the NPCs and the AI and the motion capture and all that stuff. I thought that was really cool. Um, Aaron, did you get a chance to watch that video?
No, I'm
Okay.
looking for it now.
Yeah, yeah. Just yeah, go to All Spectrum. If you go when you're up at the on the website and you go to Comlink All, you'll get all RSI communications. You'll get this
Got it.
page, and then Inside Imaginarium's a really good video. And then if you scroll up, we start talking about careers in mining and
Hmm.
the Colossus and all that, and that's really what this show is going to be about. Is about mining, but we're also talking about the REC system, which might or might not be after that. It might be before that, actually. Equipment rental, equipment credits. We're also going to be talking about that. Okay. So, but other than that, they have this thing where the Herald gradually has a picture that's getting more clear each week until the PAX East event. And then you also had the choice to vote for box art. And I think the Bengal Carrier is leading that charge. Um, which one did you vote for?
The Bengal.
Did you?
Yeah.
Man, you're a conformist.
Yeah, I know.
I voted for, guess what? The Retaliator. Okay, moving
Yeah.
on. I had to. Okay, and then jump points available. Letter from the chairman. 10 for the meet the devs. Wonderful World of Star Citizen episode 1. That was Disco Lando. Did about a 30-minute show. He said he's going to do that once a month. So yeah, definitely watch that. That was outstanding. I noticed that I'm not going to mention any names, because I think he's a member of this organization. I mean, he might or might not be. But almost every video or every skit was done or influenced by this one organization. And I understand that it was like a spur of the moment kind of thing, and he jumped in to get needed to reach out to his friends to get like stuff, but and then he reached out to some other organizations to get videos and stuff like that. My understanding is that it's like all the content came from one place. So I understand that, but now I know he's got like a whole month to make episode 2, and or maybe not, maybe like 3 weeks because they'll have to do some editing or whatever. But he's going to have a lot of time to do episode 2. He probably should reach out to other organizations or other players. That's all I'm saying. Okay. If you didn't know this, I'm going to scroll down even further. The Empire Report. I know that like in the around the verses they're doing like a 10 like a 30-second skit called uh, the Empire Report, and in this one they're talking about lynch fever. Lynch fever has a big outbreak in the Goss system. Okay, and for those of you watching the First Royal Aerospace Squadron, we're stationed in the Goss system, so we've got
Yeah,
this lynch fever going on.
yeah, and you've got us all restricted to ship. Thank you.
That's exactly right. If you're on the planet, you're stuck there in the quarantine zones, and if you're on the ship, you're not going anywhere. Uh, because it's a deadly virus. So yeah, so I didn't want to. It's like the plague. Don't want to mess around with that.
Can I put on like a hazmat suit and like, go to the bar? I mean, come on.
Sure. I mean, if you're already on the planet.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. I would assume yes. I would assume that there are people that are going down in hazmat suits or on the planet in hazmat suits, going around trying to help the sick and plagued. But that's not our job really. So we don't want to interfere. We don't want to clog up any of the medical facilities or anything. Okay, so let's talk about the REC for a little bit. Okay,
All
and I'm
right.
going to jump down here and I'm just going to click it and open it for you guys, the audience, so you guys can see it. Okay, if you're not familiar with what REC is, it's it is not in the game just yet. Probably will be introduced with 1.1. And what'll happen is when you play a match of either Arena Commander or the first person shooter module, or basically just log in and play some of their arena style matches, you will receive credits. Okay, now these credits are REC credits. You can't use them in the game. They don't carry over to the persistent universe. All it allows you to do is take those credits, go into your store, some kind of REC store, right? And then you will be able to spend them on equipment that you can use in Arena Commander. It's not real equipment. It doesn't carry over to the persistent universe. It doesn't exist in your hangar. It just shows up in your holotable as equipment that you can use. One of the reasons why they did this was because they wanted people to have an opportunity to test other things that were not in their hangar. Okay? Instead of forcing you to go out and actually buy the item. Like I've bought lasers that I wish I had not purchased. Okay? If the REC system was in effect, I would have played some matches, made some REC, went and bought these lasers that I thought were going to be super awesome. And then when I realized they weren't, it's no big deal. I'm not out any cash because it's just in-game currency, right? Okay. Uh, they're saying, I scrolled down a little bit to just an example of some weapons, like I'm going to use the M4A laser cannon because that's the one I regret purchasing. It cost 8,000 UEC, which translates to $8 a piece, because you get 1,000 UEC per dollar. Okay, so that's an $8 purchase. I bought 2 of them, so that's a $16 purchase. Not that big of a deal, right? But I could have grinded and got me 800 REC and purchased 1, okay, or 2. And then what this renewal is saying is at the end of your 7-day trial period, if you want to keep them, it doesn't cost you the full amount. It only costs you a little bit to renew your rental. Okay. Uh, Now, the way, I think it was Zane, maybe not, it's one of the devs. The way he explained the days are you don't It doesn't wear off in 7 calendar days. It wears off in 7 game days. So if you play on Saturday, even if you only play for 1 hour, that still counts as one of your 7 days. And then if you wait a week and don't play again till the next Saturday, you still have 6 days. And then you play again, and now it's 5 days. You play again, you have 4 days. It goes down like that. If you play for 24 hours straight, which I challenge anyone to do that, but if you play 24 hours straight, it still only counts as one day out of your 7. Okay. They did say, I know I'm being the only talker, Aaron, and you're just kind of listening, but if you want to cut me off and say something, please do. If you notice here, it does not apply to games versus the AI. These games have to be versus other players.
Yeah, they've got it listed. Game modes: Squadron Battle, Battle Royale, New Horizons Raceway, and Capture the Core.
Absolutely right. So if you're a big Vandal Swarm player like I am, I really enjoy Vandal Swarm immensely. Uh, it counts as 0. I have to go into a multiplayer match and get my ship blown up by Super Hornets with Omni Sky 6s before I can earn a UEC. But after I get blown up like 100 times, I'll get myself a Super Hornet and I'll get myself some Omni Sky 6s, and then I'll be doing the blowing up. But exactly right. Uh, okay, there's some pros and cons to this system. Okay, Aaron, can you tell me any pros or cons that you can think of right off the top of your bat?
Well, reading some of these, like the payout, it's a split of 70-30 for a full squad battle and 10K. Um, I mean, anytime you do something like that for in-game credits, there's going to be what's called farming going on, and people are going to be farming each other.
Right, and partially. Now, is that a disadvantage or an advantage?
Well, for
You said it like
for
it's a disadvantage.
well,
Your
it's
tone.
it's a disadvantage for the gamer who uh, isn't necessarily a likes the team play, but isn't a team player. If you know what I mean, he's not like in a unit. He's a solo player.
Okay.
So he goes into a drop as a solo player, and he gets put onto a team where there's an opening. All right, the other guys are out there as a team, and they're grinding with each other to
Right.
make the cash. To make this REC. He's not going to get as much as they're going to get because they're out there on purpose doing it. He's just trying to have a good time. A disadvantage. Advantage, it'll help units if they do this. You put 2 teams in there, and fight it out, and they're making money for the unit.
Right.
So, it goes both ways. It just depends on your point of view.
One of the what am I trying to say? One of the advantages that was pointed out by CIG is the fact that it will increase the number of people playing because they are grinding.
Right.
Okay, which means there's going to be more players playing those multiplayer matches. I think what they're noticing is there's a lot of players that are not playing the multiplayer matches at this time. They'll play like once a week, or they'll just when the new patch comes out, they might play, and or like if they have a special event and they say, "Let everybody come log on, we'll play against the devs," and then everybody logs on and crashes the servers.
I
So
heard
what
about
they're
that.
right, so what they're trying to do, I think, is stress the servers a little bit more. So it's actually going to help people because they will be grinding. There will be those people out there that are grinding. And I'm going to admit it that I'm going to play more, but what that does that mean I'm grinding? I don't think so, because it could be considered grinding because I'm playing the same thing over and over and over, but that's just because we're limited on what we can play.
True.
If there was 100 different locations and uh, and you could go anywhere and do anything. But if you went to this one world, Terra, and you fought this one boss, and he always like gave you 1,000 UEC all the time, and I just stood there and fought that one boss all the time, then I would consider myself grinding. But if I'm just playing the game as, different maps, different modes, I don't really consider that grinding. I just call that playing, you know? So, uh, but I will be playing more, so I am kind of like, I'm kind of like grinding. I'm only, I'm not grinding, I'm stirring. No, I don't know.
Well,
You know,
I'm just hoping, I'm reading along here on some of this stuff, and
yeah.
they're saying it prevents stagnation during alpha. It should not ever be possible to complete or win this pre-alpha game. Oh, come on, let's just challenge some of these guys out there that got nothing better to do than try and win this pre-alpha game.
Well, you can't. You can't win.
I know.
I mean, you can win each match,
Right, but
and you can also be number one on the leaderboard,
right.
and you can stay there all day long.
And
But
that's what they consider a win.
I would consider that a win also,
Uh-huh.
until there's other victory conditions. Because right now, that is really the only victory condition.
Yep.
It's where you place on the leaderboard, and our squadron is number 6, by the way.
Cool.
Okay, out of like over a bajillion,
Yeah.
1,900 or 2,000 squadrons that are on the leaderboard, we're number 6. I'm pretty proud of that. Okay, um, let's talk about. I want to talk about some comments from the community about the REC system. There are some, and I'm going to say just a couple of dozen maybe, people on the forums saying that they don't want the REC system. They want players to have to pay real money for additional equipment. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why would you even say that? Because the REC system, I don't care. I don't care if 100 different people get on there and they grind all day long. That's 100 players that I get to play against. And I don't care if they have the best ship in the world or all the ships in their hangar. I'm not going against all their ships. I'm only going against one ship at a time. And it's probably going to be a Super Hornet. But if they want to grind and experiment and play different ships and try out different weapons to see what they can actually use in the persistent universe, more power to them.
I can see where these people are coming from. You know, you and I are both in the same boat. We're spending our money to have the things that we've gotten thus far in this game.
Right.
And now they're opening this up, but you got to remember, yeah, they're opening this up, this REC, but only subscribers are the only ones that still only have access to the alpha anyways. So it doesn't matter because it's still going to be just us. This gives us a chance, to, like you said, test it out before we buy it, like you buying those lasers and finding out you don't like those lasers. So, I think it's a good idea just to try out new stuff
Right.
before you actually spend the cash to buy it permanently.
Right. Now, these elitists might be, and I'm calling them elitists in a negative way, not in a positive way. I think that because they might already have everything, or they spent a whole lot of money to get their stuff initially, and now noobs who just start today are going to be able to use everything. I
Right.
think they feel slighted because of the fact that they had to pay, and now people don't have to pay to get that
Right.
additional equipment. Uh, and so I can kind of feel their pain that way, but nobody twisted their arm to pay all that money for all that equipment.
Right.
They did it because they wanted it. And they probably got a year's worth of enjoyment out of it. So whether they probably didn't spend that much for it anyway. $8 for a laser, and I've been using them for over 6 months. What is that, like 50 cents a month or something?
Yeah.
It wasn't that big of a deal. Now ships, yeah, that's going to be a bigger deal if you bought a ship to try it out. But don't buy ships just to try them out. That's never been the plan. Okay, now here's the negative that I see coming. Okay, and this is why I would, if I was to vote, this is why I would vote. I'm torn. I'd go either way. But if I had to vote no, this would be the reason why I would vote no for the REC. It's going to cut into CIG's profits. Okay, because right now there are people out there like you and me, like Zon in the chat. We spend money buying those lasers to try them out. And that money goes towards that 73, 74 million, whatever they're at. Okay.
Right.
And I'm okay with that because it was really a donation and they gave me the lasers as a trial and I hate it. So I'll sell them when the Persistent Universe comes out. Or if they let me sell lasers, if they ever let me sell lasers, I'll do it. They'll be gone. Poof. Even though they're great, they're just not as great as other stuff. And I also understand that play balancing is going to happen. So my lasers, 2 months from now, those M4s I complain about all the time, might actually become worth it. And then I sold them, and I'll be like, oh man, why did I sell them? But if I had REC and I let it expire, and then they update the stats of those lasers, I could go back and use REC to pick them back up again, and I could try it again. So
Right.
I see the value of REC for the player because you get more players, you get a chance to test out all the equipment and stuff. I can see an advantage for the REC for the developers because now, like you would like we're saying, some of the players are testing out weapons that they normally wouldn't have tested out. They're going to get a lot more feedback about some of the lasers that no one picks up. You know, like why do you? So if they, and also somebody made a suggestion. I think it was in our own forums. Uh, if they wanted to, let's say, test um, the Sheehan Scout, let's say. Let's
Okay.
say it was hangar ready and it was flyable and everybody was flying it, but only the owners of that ship flew it, right? And there's a limited number of those, a couple hundred or whatever. They could say, instead of a free weekend, like what they've been doing lately, they could say something like, for this week, the Sheehan Scout is half price with credits, right? More people will go, oh, cool, half price, let me get that. And then they'll jump into it and they'll fly it. They'll either like it, they'll dislike it, there'll be a lot of forum posts about it, there'll be bug reports and all that stuff. And that's what the devs want. They want to know if that Sheehan Scout's worth, flying or if it's play balanced. And
Right.
so they could or they could still do free. They could say the Sheehan Scout's free, costs 0 UEC and you get it for a week. And that works too. So you can still do free stuff. But I think that's why they give us like this cutlass, right? That's why they give it to us for free this week, so that we can test it. It's not so that we can have something to satiate our appetite for Star Citizen. It's so that they get results, they get feedback, and they can see how many people are flying it and liking it and stuff like that. So I see this REC as being a very good advantage for them. Just a disadvantage financially. But who knows? I might fly the Sheehan Scout if it's free one weekend. I might fly it and say, damn, this is an awesome ship. I'm going to go out and buy it. And it might
Yep.
increase purchases.
That's
You know,
right.
so can't really tell you. I don't know. I'm not a marketing major. you know. And what do you feel about REC? Just give me a summary of what you think before we move on to the mining information.
I mean, it's a first. I've never seen it in any other game. Just like with the crowdfunding, where it's a wait and see. We'll see how it does, how it's perceived by the community, and how well it works. That's all we can do.
Well, for one thing, I do want to say this. For one thing, there aren't any. There are very few games out there that have such a large alpha base. We've got 500,000 plus people playing this alpha,
Right.
where most companies have a couple of hundred people playing alpha. And they're usually on their salary.
Right.
And there's a few others in the community that play because they just want to test their net code. not the actual playability of the game. And they really don't care what your feedback is. You can say, I hate this map, but it's already too late. By the time you see an alpha, that map's already finished. Where in Star Citizen, I think they really do care about our feedback, and they're trying different ways to get it. And I think that's what the REC is about. All right, let's go into the mining. Let's talk about mining now. La 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 la. I'm gonna go here onto the site. Uh, I didn't have to hit all. I guess I could have hit the back arrow. And I'm just going to go down to the mining career because I think that's the one that I really want to talk about because it talks about all the different things you can do in mining. And for those of you that haven't played the mining mini game, go ahead and do that. It takes about an hour, and then you're finished. If you want to play it 2 or 3 times, you can. Whatever. Okay, so let me switch monitors here. There we go. Okay, we're going to talk about mining. Well, first thing I want to talk about is how it differs from. All right, SurePaint. Was it stress test an early version of the economic structure for the PU? No, not really. No, I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think so because the main reason is to give us an opportunity to test equipment. But I don't want to backpedal. Let's go to the mining. We can talk about it offline later. The Okay, how it differs from other mining in other games. Okay, uh, let's go to the foundation of what mining is. Okay, mining is gathering ingredients. Okay, just like you play in WoW, you play in Elder Scrolls Online, you play any of these world of you can play in Warhammer Online, you play shoot anything. When you take a pickaxe, you go up to the rock on the side of the street, and it pops up. You hammer at it a few times, and then all of a sudden you get 3 iron ore, right? Then you take it to the blacksmith and you convert it to ingots, right? And you convert those ingots into a sword, right? Okay. That is the basis of mining, okay? Now when you go to the Star Citizen, they take that I walk up to the rock and I hit it with a hammer or a pickaxe, and then I get the iron ore, and then I take it to the blacksmith. They do it a little bit differently. What it is, and we'll go into all the different hows and whys and how you can go around and the mechanics behind that. We'll go into that in just a second. But what you're doing is you're going to a source of materials, which could be an asteroid field. It could be a moon, a mountain, a seabed. Basically, you can go anywhere. You're going to find minerals located in something that's not like super easy to accessible. You're going to have to hit it with your pickaxe, which is your Orion mining facility, or maybe you've got some other mining, a smaller version of the Orion or something. And then you will take that ore to a refinery, and some ships will have the refineries on them. Some will be on a planet or whatever, and you'll take this ore to the refinery and it will be converted to ingots. You'll either sell the ore or you'll refine it yourself or something like that. And then you will take this ore, I'm assuming you didn't sell it, you're going to take this ore that's been refined into metals or whatever, you're going to take it to a factory, and so many like tons of ore is going to allow you to build so many missiles or something like that. So in effect, it is the Star Citizen crafting system. Because when you go to craft in any other MMO, you have to get the ingredients. You might not have to worry about a recipe or something like that. And you might not have to actually go to a blacksmith and bang stuff out, but you will have to do mining. You'll get the ingredients, you'll carry them to someone that makes it, like a blacksmith, and then they will make your stuff, or you'll just sell them the materials. So, in effect, it's the same. It's the same. Now, let's talk about like Eve Online as an example. Eve, you go up, you find an asteroid that, and you scan it, and it tells you it has iron. You click on the asteroid, you click on your mining lasers, and then you sit back and you wait for 30 minutes. You put your hands behind your head. Your ship automatically processes all the ore from that asteroid, and when it's done, you go back and sell the ore. There's no skill involved in that. You know, in Star Citizen, because it's a first-person game, it's a first-person universe. He wants you to actually have to go out and mine, okay, and gather these resources yourself. And the way he's doing it in Star Citizen is you're gonna have first step is finding a suitable asteroid field. So what that means is you as a prospector, you're going to have to actually go out and search these asteroid fields. Bless you.
Sorry.
So now you don't have to use an Orion to do that. You can use an Explorer. You can use, hell, I could go out there with my Hornet. I probably could do this. It's just as long as my sensors are upgraded or calibrated to be able to detect or the difference in different chemical compositions of asteroids and stuff.
There might be a sensor package you might be able to do for that.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking. There might be like a mining sensor package that you could get, and so you don't have to have an Orion or any other mining specific. So just throwing this out there, our entire squadron, if we wanted to, we could all head to the four winds, everybody scatter and look for an asteroid field, right? An asteroid belt, and look for that. And then as soon as any one of us finds it, like Strawberry 12 or whatever, as soon as we find it, we radio back to our organization and say, all right, bring the Orion over to this spot here. And then everybody can like congregate there, and we could defend the Orion from pirates and all these other things. So technically, it doesn't necessarily have to be just the mining crews out there doing their thing.
Yeah, and I'm reading this under the specialists. I mean, they got 5 different basically operator categories that you can fall into under your mining specialty.
Yes.
Of course, the
Now,
pilot, scanner, beam.
I want to explain those specialists. Okay, uh, when you mine, you can do it yourself. You could be standing there in your own Orion all by yourself, and you could be the pilot, the scan operator, the beam operator, the reaction detector operator. You can be the laser. You can be all these processors, cargo handler, refinery operator. You can do all that single-handedly, but the problem that they're implementing is, and they want to make this hard, so they put each of these job positions on uh, their own station on the ship, on the Orion. So if you want to be the pilot and you're sitting in the pilot, great. You fly into the asteroid field. You might even be able to scan from the pilot seat. And then once the thing's scanned, you got to get up from your seat and you got to walk in and start operating maybe the beam to cut the asteroid open. And once you cut the asteroid open, you might want to have somebody keeping track of the detectors to make sure the asteroid doesn't explode or doesn't have a burst of gas come out and maybe rocks get thrown at your ship and you get damaged. So you got to constantly be looking at your sensor, using the beam, and then once you break the rocks up, somebody's got to be the tractor beam. He's got to pull in the rocks, and then he's got to use his repulsor to push away the junk rocks. And then, but you can't do that if you're the beam operator. You'll have to get up from your seat, go down to the tractor beam, and operate it. So what they're saying is you can do it. It's just going to take you 10 times longer than if you had a crew member manning each of these operations. Because that way somebody could be sitting in the pilot seat, and if the seismic detector operator says the asteroid's getting ready to explode, he could just punch the thrusters and get you safely out of the way. Another thing is the guy could be using his beams to break up the rocks, and another guy could be tractoring them in while you're breaking them up, and that's just going to make everything go so much smoother and so much faster. And I love that. Uh, it can be done singly, but you will have to have different people working together as a team for it to be profitable. I mean, extremely profitable. I'm sure doing it by yourself will be profitable. It'll just take you more time to get that same profit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely an awesome. Also, you have to learn how to read these scanners. They said they want it to be very basic and easy to understand. They don't want you to have to be an actual scientist to figure these scanners out. Okay, so they're going to make them easy to figure out. And you might even have the scanner up on the wall, and you can kind of glance over and see it without having to actually be an operator. Boy, you must be really tired.
Ah.
You should have some coffee before you got on the show. Or let me back up. Man, I'm boring you to death.
No, no.
Yeah, it's all right. So what do you think about having like multiple crew positions instead of just like one guy going up to the asteroid and hitting it with his pickaxe? Instead of that, you have to have a crew of guys. I mean, you still could have that one guy, but
It
now he's got to
makes
have a
sense.
shovel, a pickaxe, a hammer. He's got to have all these tools.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you're in an asteroid field. Asteroids are not stagnant. They move. Your pilot needs to be able to stay at his pilot seat because he's got to keep his position to whatever your target is as far as the asteroid, plus the other asteroids that are floating around you. This is your ship. Yeah, this costs you money to repair and whatnot. And if one of these asteroids hits it, it's going to damage it.
You're
So
right.
your pilot is going to have to stay at control. And
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's why the Orion is basically built the way it is. It is a multi-crew ship. Um, but it says you can, reading this, it says you can also hire NPCs.
Right. And that was going to be my
So
next point. Let's say you have an NPC in all these crew positions, except you find one of them to be more fun than the others. So maybe you like to be the tractor beam guy, or maybe you like to be the laser guy, and everybody else, the rest of your crew on the ship is doing all the other jobs. Are you sure that you want to rely on an NPC to
pilot
tractor
yours.
in all the best rocks? Are you sure you want to rely on that NPC to be the pilot to get out of the way when that one asteroid blows up? I don't know. I think I'd want to have a player in that seat. You know what I'm saying? So in effect, they've made a really good. I think they've done really well in designing this system to kind of encourage multiple player team activities. And yeah, you can have multiplayer uh, fighter battles all day long. You can have multiplayer like let's take the Idris and everybody jump on there first person and blow up the crew with their laser rifles or whatever. But when it comes to like a non-combat uh, skill based thing, I think they did a really good job in making the mining system.
Yeah, their production is going not just for the military aspect, but for the economical aspect. The economy, people out there actually working to make the product that's for sale in the economy.
Right.
and I think that's a real nice road they're going down.
Yeah, I do too. So now, imagine the thought that went into this also going into other economy aspects of the game, like salvaging or just the marketplace in general, manufacturing, all that stuff. I can only imagine our squadron owning a factory to manufacture missiles, but we have to have a guy that installs the electronic piece. We have another guy that has to put the thrusters on. We have another guy that has to make the guidance system. We have another guy that has to do the uh, buying and selling of I can only imagine that if they put this much effort into mining, that they're going to put this much effort into some of the other economy. What do you call it? Generating skills. So it's not just going to be dogfighting and first person shooting, as we all know. You know, so I'm really excited. I personally am not excited to be a miner. Okay, I do not plan to go mining any asteroids. Okay, that's not my thing. Okay, but will I help somebody do it? Sure. Will I help them carry the cargo when they get the rocks and they need it carried to our factory to build more missiles? Absolutely. And will I protect the Orion while he's doing the mining? Keeping patrol in the asteroid field, looking for other people that might be trying to claim jump us. Yeah, absolutely. So uh, yeah, I mean it's not for everybody, but I really like the direction that RSI is going when it comes to um, this idea. So what are your final thoughts on this?
I look forward to it. Like yourself, I probably won't be a miner. I've already got my role kind of predetermined, and I can't wait to start doing it. But hey, I like you. I'll be out there in support of the guys doing it within our one RAS. Um, either whether it be protecting them or filling a role. For the good of the one RAS.
That's right. And I like Death Demon's comment up here. He goes, all of his asteroid mining is done when he flies poorly with his Hornet. Oh man, that was a good one. Okay, what is this? Have you purchased the Orion mining platform yet, or are planning on it? Me personally, T'Challa, no, I don't plan on getting it. Um, but I have a feeling that there might be a couple of them showing up in our organization, and if not, that's okay. We can probably get away with not mining. We can probably just be salvagers, or we can probably use our salvage vessels as mining vessels because we can. Like what is it, the reclaimer? I'm sure it can. Yeah, I'm sure it can mine also. It just has to be maybe modified a little bit here and there because it has a refinery inside. It also has the drones, and it also has like a gripper arm and a crusher and all that stuff. So, uh, okay, so we're closing up the show. So, do you have any other final thoughts or anything that you'd like to share with the audience before we close out?
I just I'm looking for hopefully this new thing you told me about getting rid of that file will help me get in the game again
Yeah,
and participate. I've been scratching behind the ear and stuff like that from withdrawals. Um,
right.
but I like what RSI is doing, and I look forward to see what's next.
Okay, okay. I want to end with a short little video for everybody. So let me go ahead and get that pulled up. This will be my little, oh my gosh, what, YouTube, what are you doing? No wonder I'm clicking on the wrong button. It's always my fault. I blame it on you. No.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Everyone, our rivals, the cat switched from cable to AT&T.
And it's not that.
I was gonna say that ain't what I've seen.
Join the 1st Royal Aerospace Marine Squadron and save the world. Service guarantees citizenship. We have the ships. We have the weapons. We need Marines. Like Trooper Surepain. And like Centurion Whole Armor. They're doing their part. Are you? We need we will be performing all sorts of lawful activities, not just the military ones. We will explore, mine, salvage, carry cargo, escort ships, and we will need shipboard Marines to defend our fleet and to be ready to board enemy vessels. Want to know more? Visit our recruiter at 1ras.engine.com. Service guarantees citizenship.